I don't know, but it says a 10-year-old boy took his own life after suffering horrific bullying at school. Now, we don't know what's going on at home. It's like a mystery, right? Like, these parents do this thing, right? But I feel there's something in addition for the kid to not have the proper, to regulate, like, what's going on here and how does he even come up with it. There's, like, so much of this stuff. You want to sit there and go, oh, the damn school the whole time, this, that, this, that. But some of these dynamics can be them at home doing stuff, and then they go to school, and then it's like the addition, right? Some addition to it where it makes it like there's nowhere good to go. Like it's this horrible thing. And so we have to be careful, I think, maybe even judging some of these stories completely because, like, the kid's not here anymore, right? So we can't really get a full picture in the scope from, like, okay, are these parents okay too? We don't know. Because these dynamics have been pretty bad. And with the parents and everything. I'm just seeing, because I'm looking at it like, I'm looking at them as being neglectful in the fact that they had knowledge of something and they just let it happen. And then it's like, well, is there something else going on too? And so his parent, because he doesn't find comfort in them. Like, there's a thing to this, you guys. His parents, Sam and Nicole, say he was both physically and emotionally bullied at school, with Sam being recently beaten up on a school bus. Yeah, what did you guys do, though? So you knew that. So you put your kid back into the situation, or what? See, you guys, the bullying started last year when he was in elementary school and followed him to Greenfield Intermediate School. According to the family, Sammy told teachers and staff about the bullying 20 times. I mean, look how small he is. Oh my God. It's amazing. Like, I think about, like, how little I was at, like, age 10 and 11. Like, just, I feel older. Like, when I'm looking back at it. Okay. His father, Sam, told WTHR, oh, and by the way, this is the age that they're like, this should be consensual. Yeah, I was like, at least for girls, yeah. His family said WTHR, they were making fun of him for his glasses. Okay, 'cause I had, the glass thing was weird. Like, I didn't even need glasses, and everybody was getting glasses, and I was like, oh, you know what, I want glasses, because glasses was the cool thing. I don't know why glasses were a cool thing at one point. It was like in first and second grade or something. I was like, well, everybody's getting glasses, you know? I want to get I can't see, you guys. Yeah, so then they give me glasses, and then I really needed them. I was like, later, I was like, yeah, this is weird. I held him in my arms. I did the thing no father should ever have to do at any time I closed my eyes. It's all I could see. The abuse then got physical. He was beaten up on a school bus, and then the kids broke his glasses and everything. I called the school and I'm like, what are you doing about this? It keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and it's not getting any better. In fact, it's getting worse. Yeah, so why would you keep putting him back into that? Can you imagine the trauma? Like, and we don't know what's going on at home either, but your kid just got totally beat up and scared to death to go back to school. And they send him right back into that den? Yes. Like, it's almost a common sense thing that you wouldn't do that. It's like, you know, someone's a rapist, and then you're like, I'm going to send you to hang out with the rapist. What's your problem? It's like, what the hell? They did nothing. My parents didn't do anything either, okay? They didn't. It's just this, they can't just say they have zero tolerance, because this doesn't mean there's zero tolerance about bullies. Well, if the adults are bullying, the kids are going to be bullying. They're seeing it from the adults. You guys hear, like, even in the music industry, you see the bullying. So they're picking it up. Those are their kids, you know, or the parents being like that. And so they're picking it up, the kids, and then they're going to school and doing all that crap. Nobody just randomly does that, because nobody will have an issue with glasses. Like I said, the kids actually thought glasses were kind of cool at this weird point. Again, I don't know why. And then braces. Okay, so then our friends got braces, and I was like, can I get braces? And I never needed them. And then, of course, I didn't get them. But I was like, the cool thing then at some point was to get braces. like weird stuff. Like at a point it is cool, and then at another place it won't be cool, right? It's just this thing of in the environment of what, they want to go on. Their zero tolerance means that they don't have responsibility for it. People trust their kids to the school, but now they trust is breaking down. Okay, so Dr. Harold was approached by the outlet for an interview and said that he was unavailable, but claimed no bullying report had ever been submitted by the family. Yeah, so I'm questioning, how do we know? You guys got to be sharp with these people, these parents. You got to be real sharp with them, because the reality sometimes in these stories isn't even just the bullying at school. Like, we all got this garbage, right? We didn't all do this, right? So why didn't we do this? And I would say, like, one portion is it wasn't a popular thing to do back then. So it wasn't necessarily in our psyche, right? So it's not in our view. So we're not seeing all these kids doing this and reading about it, or, this thing. So it's not in your perception. So the idea to do it should be less likely. But unfortunately, in this world, things now, everybody's got it in their head. But another thing, when you have a hard time dealing with something, that tends to lie on the parents, right? So the parents can be bullying their children at home, or there's abuse at home. And so now it becomes a thing where it's not even good to live, because it's like your home life is so bad. And then when you go to school, the school life is so bad, then you may see this dynamic coming into play. But this could also be the school making stuff up, but they're saying that they never submitted anything from the family, so that would be a problem. I would not have sent my kid back to the school after my kid got beat up. Like, what the hell? So it's showing you some fault on the parents here, and so yeah, so then that's why you would start being suspicious of their activity at the home. Because your kid, this should not be the idea that your kid should go after. It's, there's something amiss. Okay, so then they said they added the administrators at the school had conversations with the family throughout the year, but wouldn't share the content of these conversations. Okay, so now here they're saying, well, they did have conversations. So there was something apparently where maybe they're like, we need to make sure my kid's not getting bullied. But they said there was no report submitted by the family. Okay, so those two things are going on. All the kids generally look the same. So, I mean, they're all probably dealing with the same stuff. Here's the grandmother says that she trusts put in the schools breaking down. Okay, so they said the school knew this was going on, okay, with the bullying going from the school and the school's social media platforms like Snapchat. Yeah, that damn Snapchat, man. You guys should be staying off that thing. I don't know what the hell. It keeps popping up. I was like, there's just so evil up in there. His mom, Nicole, said, he was my little boy. He was my baby. He was my youngest one. Okay, so then the death of Samuel is tragic, and it left our school, corporation, larger community in grief. Sammy was a student in the last year and a half. He finished his third grade year at the elementary school, and he was a fourth grade student, okay, there, and during the current 23-24 school year. We were made aware of his death Sunday afternoon, and we were dispatched our crisis response team. See, I started school early, because if you're 10 and you're in fourth grade, I was already, I was in fifth grade. I was early. We were made aware of his death. Okay, our staff, blah, blah. The parents did report the manner of death as a suicide, and we are investigating their claims related to bullying. While the investigation continues, we're primarily focused on resources. Yeah, I would want more information on this thing. Just because if you talk to the school and then nothing happened, and then all of a sudden your kid gets beat up and you send him back or something, like, is this what's going on? Something's not right there. I don't know. What do they say in the comments? Okay. It's easier for the schools to deny the bullying rather than tackling it. My son came horribly close to this situation when he was 10, and my heart goes out to this. Yeah, something about that age range. It was really weird. All the socio kids like started coming out. Like I told you guys about that age is the problematic kids that you need to be aware of because that's when it starts popping up. You'll see it more by maybe 12, 14, which is too late. But no, definitely. I was like, definitely the 10 age was starting to get bad. It was 11 for sure. And then junior high, it really, those kids stayed pretty much like that. Yeah, the amount of torment I went through, man, it was just like, it was so odd that like none of my friends cared. Like they did it, like it didn't, I don't know. It was this weird thing. Is like all these people are doing this to me, and then they just like they kind of ignore it. The crazy thing is, I was trying to remind one of them. Do you remember when we went to the bathroom at this one store and they spray painted the whole wall, and you're the one that ran out and told me? Like they don't remember it, and they won't remember it because it's not a horrific event for them. That's why they won't recall it. But for me, it was horrifying. And but my thing was I was trying to make sure my friend didn't do it screwing with me because we screwed with each other a lot, okay? And I was like, oh my God, if she even did anything like that, that would have been such a crime. But it would have just been, I wouldn't even really be mad about it. I would just be like, what the hell, dude? One day I was saying, I go, she went into this bathroom at a Kmart. And I don't even understand how this even happened because I rarely ever went there. And there was a thing at the, like, this girl was starting this thing at school that she's like going to tell people I shop there. So I was like, well, maybe it was that girl. But I don't go there. And how would it be there on the day that we go there because she needs to use the restroom? It wasn't, it wasn't a planned thing. It was such a random thing. And she goes in the bathroom. We walk in there. I don't know if she had to get something or just needed to use the restroom. It was such a oddball thing. So we were just walking down on this country road and we go into the store and then she goes into the bathroom and she comes out like kind of pale. She's like, "Did you see this? You need to come in here and see this." And I look and the entire wall, like it's the entire wall, you guys, in red spray paint said my full name. It said, my full name, shops here at, like this whole thing across the whole wall in the bathroom. And I'm like, that has to be new because if it happens, it's graffiti and they would have to clean it up, right? So I was sitting there questioning it years later and I'm like, did my friend do that to screw with me? I just want to ask her, because just to make sure. No, and she don't even remember it. And it was kind of annoying that she didn't remember it because it was so horrific and creepy. And again, like I didn't shop there. I rarely ever went in there. And it was a random act this one summer. I think it was during the summer break. And I was like, did somebody see us walking? Because they could have seen us walking and then took off to there and then did that. But how would they know we were going to go in there? Because there was some other stores right in that thing. It was bizarre. But she claims she didn't. It's not like, what are we going to do? We screwed around with each other a lot. But nothing like that. But I would feel better. She's like, oh yeah, I was totally effing around, dude. It was nobody else. It was a prank. Like something like that. But it wasn't. She's like, I don't even remember that. She didn't remember it. So none of my friends remember that I got massively bullied. And I go, yeah, that's a form of it. Now, I don't know if it was an adult that did it or if it was that girl that did it, but it would have been on the day that we were walking there or within a few days of it because they would have cleaned that up. No, because our town, no, that wouldn't have stayed. When my daughter got glasses at the age of 6, again with her teeth at the age of 10, that's like 10 year. See, I don't know. The glass thing was the cool thing back then. I was like, I want glasses. And in fact, I want those big butterfly fucking glass. I wanted those big ones that there were 2 wings on the side. I was like, I can't see. I need glasses. I was that weird. It was like manipulating, man. I was like, yeah, I was a little manipulator kid. I was like, because everybody got glasses. And they made it a cool thing. And I don't know if it's because the babysitter made it a cool thing or friends, family made it a cool thing. Somebody made it a cool thing. And so I wasn't even bothered by it up until later, like much later. But yeah, and then I was like, I'm never wearing glasses again. And then I had to start wearing them again. And I was like, oh my God, I have this feeling back when I was a kid, and it's not really a good feeling. Now I'm kind of like, okay, we're gonna just make it cool again. I don't know. But yeah, no, it was crazy. And all the things that you guys are saying you got bullied for, like those things at the time, like for some reason was a cool thing to do. And I don't know if it's just because the way the reverse psychology from the adults about it onto kids. I don't know. Why wouldn't the hell would getting braces be cool? I don't know, but it was at some point. And I was like, I want to get braces because my friend got them right here. So, and they're like, you don't need them. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna go bust up my teeth. Yeah, it's just weird. Because my friend got them. I think it was maybe more like I want to like do what my friend does. She gets to get all these things and like look. Like, but being even overweight or anywhere near average, that was never acceptable. You had to be like anorexic, like during school. So, some kids were not anorexic, okay? So these kids would like go to town. And it's weird to think that in other countries it's acceptable and they didn't have that type of bullying. So it definitely is environment, you guys. It is something they're picking up in the environment. So there's other countries that's actually a positive. Having a little bit more cushion. Like there was this saying about that. But yeah, they didn't have that type of bullying like they did here in America. Now, that has a lot to do with TV, fashion industry, general environmental, like just that. It's being picked up from all that. That's why they're doing it. Otherwise, they would have been acting the same how they were over there. Because in the environment over there, that's like everybody, right? So it's a normal thing. Just like rape that they made a normal thing, just like assault they made a whole normal thing, and so everybody just lets it happen, right? So yeah, I was trying to think of anything else they bullied me for. Oh yeah, clothing. Okay, so not having designer clothing. Okay, at that time, I mean, how ridiculous is that? I don't know if that happens everywhere. Maybe not in other countries, mostly like poorer countries. I mean, what they're gonna start bullying because nobody has like the hottest fashion. But here in our country, yeah, they would degrade kids for not having nice things, including cars. The type of cars that they had, they would start, that was getting towards high school. Um, Doing that, and then, I mean, you're not going to go harm yourself over somebody saying you have a Pinto wagon, how horrible. It's just kind of like, um, what else do they make fun of? I think that's it. Oh, okay, yeah, your race, like different parts of your country. For some reason, I don't know why this is hilarious. I don't even understand it. Like when we go back into this stuff to like identify people by their culture, and then it's actually quite offensive, but it was purposely to be offensive, to be funny, and then it's really kind of mean. And then, yeah, I was just like, I have no idea, man. I know some things didn't even, it came from other people's families and whatnot, and then, yeah, they would just everybody put up with it. It's just like, okay, so you're gonna say something offensive to me. Well, I'm gonna say something offensive to you, and then it becomes this normal thing where everybody's effing with each other. And then somebody can come out now and go, they said this. It's like, okay, yeah, but what? There's a fuel in it. It's like this banter that's going all over the place. But we've never, in our group of people, at least I didn't, start picking on random kids that we never seen. We don't hang out with them. Like, it's one of those things, like, where if we thought something was ridiculous about those people, we might talk amongst each other about it. But it wasn't a thing like you would do physical stuff like this, right? So that's why I said those kids that do the physical actions and actually say something to those kids to their face are the problem. Not the ones that are saying stuff in private, but they should be talked to too as well. Like that's not a good thing. But the ones that have the the balls to go up and purposely try to make someone feel small and then do all these things is the socio, because nobody else would do that. So those are the kids that are doing it are going to be the main problems in the world. And those are the kids that tend to become the most successful because they're piles of shit. So those are the ones that will keep you down. Those are the ones that keep the world a living nightmare. And so it's not a thing where, oh, it goes away. It's actually one of the things where that's going to become your boss in about 10 years. You know what I mean? It turns into this thing versus, oh, you think they're going to get busted one day. They're barely getting busted right now. Like, you know, you're seeing this like dynamic. Those are the ones that are going to become millionaires because they're the ones that have the brains that sit there, the way that they're thinking to go run over everybody and do all these horrible things to get wherever they want. So they're doing it right here. Like it's kind of their playground before they become mega monsters. It's only one way though. The principal says they never filed a report, and yet other administrators say they had frequent discussions with the family. I find it hard to believe that the family didn't mention or discuss his bullying. At any of these meetings, a lawsuit needs to be filed so the family can get some answers. Well, again, you don't know what's happening at home. We don't know what's in that meeting. And maybe they're lying, maybe they're not. And then the principal should be fired for not doing his job and sued by the parents. Yeah, but what if the parents actually legitimately, like, some other thing? You have to look at the story like that. There's a lot of stuff here, and I don't know what else happened at home. You don't know either, so why are they in there talking with the school? I don't know. Maybe the schoolwork was bad. Maybe, you know, they had some concerns. They said something. But again, I find it really interesting that they knew all that and kept putting their kid in that school. It would not happen. Like, I'm telling you, if my kid got beat up, he's not going back to that school. And that it would be hell. It would be hell on earth for those people. Oh, this is funny that you say that in Australia, but yeah, law enforcement here, who was it? I've already mentioned this before. The Justice Department, was trying to victim blame me. Like, why are people doing this to me? Like, somehow I'm inviting conduct like this on myself as a woman. And they're like, you need to tell us, you know, because, like, why would they be doing that? I was like, I don't know. Why don't you ask what these bullies' problems are? You know, it's that same thing. So they put, like, this thing that the school didn't do anything, and they blamed them as I obviously bringing it on myself. Yeah, so back in the day, and even now, with the government, when the government's talking to you like that, they would see it the same way in school. So they wouldn't do anything. So government asked me, like, why are people harming me? Like, somehow it's my fault. I go, most of these things have nothing to do with me doing anything to anybody. It has to do with men having fuckhead problems and women having issues. So women having jealousy issues and going after me throughout the school thing. So it was a combination of both boys and girls. So it wasn't a limited thing like only these boys were doing something. There were some horrific girls, and I got one back by knocking her chair, and she hit her head on this thing. And then they blamed her for it and said she did it to herself. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better to happen here because she was trying to get girls to fight. Like, she has a mental problem. She's like a sociopath. And she's just trying to get two people to fight who don't know each other. And finally, you know, you get sick of it. And it's just like one day I was like, I had enough of her, man. And I just went, boom, you know. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to get busted, but is it worth it? Yeah. And, you know, at that time, I was like, I'm going to go down, man. They're going to take me in. And then they're like, you did it to yourself. Nobody touched your chair, girl. I was like, you could not. That was like karma in its, you know, a self-made karma. It was just, it just happened that way. It was just a really strange thing. And I was just like, oh my God, did that really happen? I'm actually not going to get in trouble. Like, I wasn't expecting her to hit her head. I was expecting for her to fall off the chair, like miss the chair. but she missed the chair and then rolled back and hit her head on this metal like file thing, and it was just like it was like boom, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going down. That's all I could think of, and I was just like la la la, and then I just hear the librarian go, she did it to herself. I was like, oh, what? I was like, who would do that to themselves? Oh my god. But what I was thinking about the story, because I was a kid at the time, I was thinking, I wonder if the librarian knew about her. And then, I don't know. Like maybe she knew she was problematic the whole time and that she had problems. And then, so maybe they just were like, this thing. But it is possible she really did think that, because the way that I kicked it was just with my foot. I just went boom underneath the table and nobody would see it. So I don't know. But but honestly, who would do that to themselves? I don't know. Like maybe she thought it was like an accident, but the chair totally went far. Like you guys, it was like those ski bottom chairs. Like it's like a U shape, like the whole bottom. So like when it's on carpet, it just goes, it slides on the carpet like that. This metal L shaped thing. And so like I kicked it and it scooted. I mean, it went far. It just went phew, back. And then so when she went to sit down, she completely missed it. I mean, completely missed it. And I was just like, oh my God, that was a little much. Yeah, no. And then I guess she didn't think of me when it happened, even though I was sitting right next to her. But yeah, because she tried to get me and this girl into a physical fight. And that girl tried to touch me and shit. I was like, dude, what the hell? Like, I don't know you. You don't know me. What is this shit? And so, yeah, come to find out it was her making up stuff. She was just making up stuff. She's like, that girl, they said that you were talking shit about me. And girl, I don't talk about nobody. I don't even know you. Yeah, so she was like going in between. She's a socio. And then she got it back. I got her back. I get all these socios back eventually. I was like, sometimes I don't have to do nothing. I just sit back and there's like, no, that was crazy. Like, you have to figure, like, what is going on in her head? She's this larger redheaded girl. Larger redheaded girl is weird. Honest to God, I didn't talk to anybody in class. And then she's like, hey. And I'm like, yes. I was like, this girl's been talking shit about you. And I was like, who? I don't know her. And then they said that girl, and I was like, oh, I don't know her. So I was getting bullied so bad anyway. It was like I'm gonna do something. I was like, whatever. She got a problem, I guess. I was like, oh, like I'm gonna go fight her. Like I'm not even violent like that. And then so I was like, no. They're like, she wants to fight you after school. Yeah, and then I find out like she was telling that other girl that I kept talking shit about her. I'm like, I didn't even know that girl existed. Like, who am I talking about and why? It's stupid, and then for it to turn into a violent encounter tells me there's something wrong with that other girl. And there was something wrong with the other girl that I ended up be friends with. But it was like, why would you want to fight? I was literally taking karate and I would have fucked her up, dude. Like seriously, and I was taught like I can't do it like in that situation. Like this weird thing about it. And so I was like, I'm non-violent. Yeah, this thing. Oh my God, I would have killed her. You should only use your power for self-defense. Yeah, that was the thing about it. So I always felt like I could never do it anyway on anybody because that might be the end of them. Totally. I don't feel okay. So someone's like, pull your children immediately when you see they are not being cared for by the schools. Yeah, exactly. But that's a common sense thing, right? You would do it. You would do it. So question why the parents didn't do it. They could never have known he would do this. Well, no. So they're like, I would never blame these poor parents. Okay, why do they get a sympathy card though? You don't know what's happening at home. That's what I'm saying. I go, you know that you would remove the kid, mostly after the kid got beat the hell up. So you need to question it, and don't sit there and cuddle the parents. There's a lot of really bad parents out here. There's a question in it because they didn't do that. And regardless of the fact of what happened at the end, you don't know what's the problem in that situation right there. And it says, for those of us with kids still in trenches, it's a fun reminder that the school will always do what it needs to be done to protect them. Isn't that every entity though? The cops, everybody, government, anybody, like all those entities are out for themselves. The medical field, everybody. If it wasn't that way, but you would think that they'd want to do something to keep them from getting busted and legal, but they don't. But here again, the parents, it's easier for the parents to put all the blame on the school when very much, in fact, if you look at the space, we were talking about another story of a family, and the home life is so atrocious. Oh, even a Maryland story, because it talked about him. His home life is so atrocious. He's going to school, and then the kids choose to pick on him as well. But the actions from him are not from the school. The actions from him have to do with his home life. It's just like there's this, addition, in it later, and then how he ends up, acting that way. But it still tailed off from the home life, the parents. So, no. And that's what you don't know in the story. Are his parents like that? You don't know that. Why would your parents be careless that you're getting beat up at school? I'm going to send you back to the school where the kids are beating you up. And not do something about, like a legal thing or anything, or remove them and send them to a different school. My mom talked to me about how it was my job to stand up for her, to tell her how pretty her hair looked on a certain day, make her know that I would be her friend no matter what, and I wish every child had a mom like I did. About a girl in my class who was being teased, and we didn't have much, but this girl obviously even had less. So you're talking about being poor. Yeah, the rich kids were piles of shit, dude. I'll tell you, and it's so funny, like I keep saying, I wasn't a poor kid, dude. We were mid, a little upper. We had a little bit more than the average, you know? And I pretty much got like what I wanted, but luckily, like I didn't have like this expensive taste. Like I wasn't like, oh, I need the top, brands of the day, this thing. I was just like, I just want some cool shit from Hollywood, like something like that. And yeah, they went to town on me. Well, and why though? I wasn't a poor kid. Like I wasn't the poor kid at school. But for some reason, it became this thing because they wanted to, tease me for not wearing their bullshit. What rich people kids do. Because their parents are ultra strict and psychotic. And so they were making them dress a certain way, like the polo shit. I hated that. I don't even care how much money I had and I can afford it. No. Like, no. And so then they started going to town on me. It was terrible. I was just like, it's just stupid as hell. Then I started feeling like Molly Ringwald, man, because I just like cut up shit. You go and do this thing. I'm like, this is actually kind of cool. And being more artistic, I was a big time art student. So why the fuck would I be running around with Guess jeans? Like, ew. You couldn't pay me to wear Guess jeans today. None of us back then. And it was so sad. I kept saying, the kids were being bullied so bad that they would steal the patch of a Guess pair of pants and sew them on generic pants. That's how bad our school was. Like, I can't imagine doing that, but they would take Keds. Keds were like, I don't know how much Keds were back then. Maybe they were $20. I don't think they were that expensive, but there were kids that could not afford the Keds. And I didn't like them anyway. But anyway, they took the back plastic part of the Ked shoe and glued it to their other shoe, the generic ones from maybe like Payless or something. Whatever, wherever they got it. That's how bad it was. Like as far as like when you're talking about financial status, like class stuff, that was atrocious. The rich kids were the fucking worst piles of shit bullies in our school. Not top number one. Those were the kids that were like the homecoming queen and king, and they're fucking rapist bullshit and drugging everybody. And then they would look at them as like being the average, wonderful, wholesome kid. And I'm like, wholesome is not a fucking word I would use with those assholes. But they, had this representation and they bullied everybody to not be into, the yearbook thing. I talked about that. I go, I want to be in there, or at least get my friends in there, because there's more people in this class than just those assholes. And as you see, it transpired into the real life where they're taking over social media. They fucking bully everybody else underneath them. So you see it actually grow into a worse problem than it ever did of it going away. So then they sit there and they bully themselves at the top, and they were always at the top. So then they start calling them Nepo babies and all that shit, right? Because then they're just spoiled brats where it's like everything is handed to them, and then they take a all over everybody else. But that's how they were in school. That's what I'm saying. I go, they just don't have a fucking mirror of what a terrible monster they fucking were. And I threw that out at my school, what fucking bullies they were on that classmate thing. Oh, God. And they're going to still bully me. Like, they're going to read something like that and go, she's not, whatever. They're going to do whatever they can to justify that type of bullying. I mean, they were bullying me at school dances. They were bullying me. I don't know who the fuck thinks that's funny. They were bullying me all over the place. And then I get preyed on at a school dance by an older guy that the school brings over. And it's not them getting harmed, it's me getting harmed. Why does it happen to me? So, this thing is happening. Then they bullied me from not being able to walk down with my class. That's what I'm saying. I go, it's so effed up what they did. It was also the adults, the teachers were along with the bullies in school. So they went along with the kids bullying me, and then sent a letter home to my mom and said she doesn't get along with the class. And it's like, the class is bullying me. So they didn't take too well to, somebody that dressed different than them. And then my size, right? So they sent that home versus addressing the class to not be bullies. My teacher was like, oh my God, how much do you weigh? Yeah, I was like, this is awful, dude. The teacher was bullying me. The teacher was bullying me over my weight. He's like, oh my God. He did that. And the kids were totally sexually attracted to that guy in 6th grade. And I was really grossed out. They're like, he's so hot. We really like that teacher. And I was like, I'm going to throw up. That guy's an asshole. But they didn't really talk to me in class. And then they let them chase me into a bathroom. Like, so he's watching it. So why would he send a thing to my parents or my mom and say that kind of shit? It's like, what am I doing? Can you explain to my parents, like, what I'm doing to them to cause that? Nothing. That's just what's been going on right now through my whole life. Nothing.